Happy Guam viewers and voters. Welcome to another episode of the We Want to Know Action PAC show. I'm your host, Bill Letty, the Executive Director for the Action PAC, and we have yet another special candidate on our show. And today we have Ms. Mana Silva Taijeron. Hafa Mana.
Hafa day, Phil. Thank you everyone for tuning in and having an interest. Like you said, I'm Mana Silva Taijeron, running for the 37th Guam Legislature. I previously worked at the Guam Economic Development Authority, where I served as a deputy administrator. I worked there for about 6 years. And before that, I was in the 31st Guam Legislature, where I was able to tackle a number of issues that deal with the economy. And before that, I was a veteran news reporter and anchor working for PNC as well as KUAM News.
Yes, I do want to say, for the most part, it is known that you have a plethora of experience. You have the privilege of serving our island in the previous legislature, as you mentioned, and you are a familiar voice on the TV and airwaves. I personally miss you reading out the news on the point, so I do want to share that. Now, just for our new viewers, an intro to the Action PAC. We were formed out of a need to play an active role in government beginning at the grassroots level. Action PAC comprises members from a cross-section of society, representing all walks of life, and united in belief that we can affect change through action, rather. We welcome you to get to know us better, and we hope through these interviews and conversations with the candidates that we help you get to know the candidates better. Ms. Mana Silva Taijeron is another candidate vying for one of your 15 votes in the upcoming primary and hoping to move into the general election. So with that, are you ready for our interview, ma'am?
Yes, and before we start, though, I do want to say thank you to the Action PAC. Thank you for the Chamber for taking a really active role, because I've been paying close attention to the ideas and the goals that you have established, as well as the work that you have done. And I do plan on, if I am lucky enough to make it into the 37th Guam Legislature, I do plan on working hand in hand with you and driving those initiatives, because I do stand by a majority of them. And so I thank you for what you do. And I do, again, look forward to working with you personally as well as your group.
Great. Well, we love to hear it. We're all about dialogue, and we think that that's where the magic happens between government and private partnerships, is the conversations and dialogues with various industry experts, depending on the topic of concern at that moment. So yes, an honorary shout out to the Guam Chamber of Commerce, Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Korean Chamber, Chinese Chamber, Guam Contractors Association, Guam Association of Realtors, and the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. These amazing organizations are the founding pillars of the Action PAC, and they are the partners that support myself as well as my team in our goal to bring more light and truth to our viewers and voters. So with that said, we'll jump right into question number one for our candidates, and that would be, if you can please let us know, what are your 3 platform pillars?
Well, I've always campaigned on driving the economy. The economy has always been a big focus of attention for me, as well as establishing new industries and creating jobs for our people. Of course, you always want to make sure that we have prime education, healthcare, and public safety, but none of that's going to happen unless you have a strong economy. So the economy has always been at the forefront for me, and I continue to look to work toward that. I especially had some good experience working with GITA in the last several years in my term there as the deputy administrator. And I want to go and give them more support in doing the job and focused attention on what they are intended to do, which is drive the economy and establish new industries. They've done really well in the last couple of years, providing support for our small businesses, and however I can help them in continuing that effort, as well as expanding our exports. One of the things that you might see in the newspaper, I think it was either just today or yesterday, they've taken a group of individuals, small businesses, off to the States so that we can be part of an export trade show. This was one of the great things that I saw that we were able to do when I was at GITA. And I really want to be able to showcase our local products throughout the world and internationally. So I see that as a big effort that I would like to push moving forward.
Excellent. Yes, I love the GITA program. and they seem to have some great leadership supporting what they're doing. So yes, more help from our lawmakers with the GITA program. And you didn't mention, obviously the crime education and obviously our economy. Those are, I think, those are the prime areas of concern for all citizens as we progress through these post-pandemic times. Excellent. So as we segue into our second question, what is one main focus item that you believe you can realistically accomplish in one term?
I got a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And I don't think it necessarily takes a long period of time to establish or to see our goals through. In my first term of the legislature, I had a list of things that I wanted to do, and I was able to get a number of them. Working directly again with GITA, one of them was establishing the green technology industry and providing incentives for that industry to grow. And we've seen that grow exponentially over the last decade. So moving in, I would like to take a look at technology and other industries that we could look at developing here, such as manufacturing, even looking further into developing our local produce and our fisheries. Another action item that I really definitely want to address is our ability to access government services online. You might not know, but in the 31st Guam legislature, I was able to pass a bill that allowed for the first of the government applications to be processed online. And we've seen how much that has grown and has really been a source of relief, especially in the last couple of years. And so, the administration, and I want to credit the administration as well as especially the Department of Rev and Tax, who've been able to get these applications and expand that program even further. So how we can look at even expanding that even more in the idea of like business licenses and other licenses and regulations, that we can see how we can do that online so that we can move to a way of doing business with the government with never actually having to step foot in to one of those government offices. I think just providing an ease of services to our people, our businesses, as well as off-island investors that we want to come here.
Great. I'm a big fan, as are my kids, of the new community garden that is going to be opening across the old Hagutnya precinct. So we're looking forward to many of those sprouting up throughout the island. And in regards to streamlining and the efficiency and utilizing today's technology to handle government business, I'm a big fan of that, and that is super realistic because I had the privilege of living a few years in the mainland, and I can't remember spending much time in a Rev and Tax or a DMV when
Exactly.
majority of these services were accomplished online. And I was just at renewing my youngest son's passports earlier this week at DMV, and as I was making my way through the entrance, there was a gentleman that was kind of leaving, and he seemed to be a little bit disappointed, but he did share quite loudly. He's like, "I'm not sure how long you're going to take, but it took me 5 hours," and that
Yeah.
just seems to be quite a waste of a day. So we do know that there are programs and technology out there to assist our agencies operate more smoothly, not just for the end user, which would be the citizen, but also our agencies and our hardworking government officials. So I
Yeah,
do,
and we did get to see what our capabilities were with the last couple of years. I mean, we could
yes.
look at the negatives, but the positive is that we've uncovered a whole bunch of capabilities that we have on the government side as well as our personal side. And to an extent, we've gotten kind of spoiled, not having to either get out of your car or leave your home in order to do business or even attend school. And like we're meeting right now, attend meetings.
You're
So
right.
everything online, we're moving in that direction, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely shouldn't take a step back. There was a candidate in a previous interview that I conducted mentioned that the government actually has a technical division,
Oh,
or
yes, the
yeah, an online
Office
division.
of Technology.
There you go. Yeah, and it seems like that's definitely one of the divisions that seem to be overshadowed or not spoken about enough, especially in
Yeah,
this time.
and since you mentioned it, then I'll tell you that there's probably a handful of people working in the Office of Technology, and that handful of people, which was probably five, is is taking care of the technology for the entire government of Guam. So, man, definitely if we could give more resources to that office to expand the programs in each of the agencies and offices, that would be a great thing.
Kudos to those five. We need you as we progress forward. So a nice shout out to seems to be an often forgotten division of the
Right.
government. Now, in our closing question, as I mentioned earlier, the Action PAC is known to be backed and formed by the largest business organizations on Guam. We are very pro-business, pro-entrepreneur spirit, but we do have a sound understanding that businesses are only as successful as their employees' opportunities. So a happy, loyal, and hardworking employee allow businesses to grow, which allow more opportunities for additional residents. But all in all, everyone goes home and is able to provide, to have that dignity of providing that for their family. So we're definitely have the stance of pro business. How will you help our local business community as we progress through these economic recovery times?
I happen to come from a very strong background of business-minded family members. My grandfather and grandmother owned a business in Agana, Tendon Annie Mariana Sales. My mother started a business of her own. She started her travel agency as well as a daycare center, which I took over when I was just out of high school, running my family daycare center. And, my sister owned a travel agency. My father started Napa here on Guam, and then moved on to own a boat store, Pacific Micronesia Marine. And so, I see the importance of the community bonding with its local businesses and supporting the local businesses. That's the only way that it can flourish. But it's also the key place where majority of our jobs are. And that's the main driver of our economy. So if we're not supporting our local businesses, then we got a problem. So one of the things that I saw in the last couple of years due to the pandemic was our inability to keep people working, primarily because of, the funding that kind of incentivize them to stay home because they're making more money at home. But provide more training for our local businesses. I want to work with the former Senator Samabini Young, who has a great idea with the career technology, and establishing training programs within our schools and colleges so that people are geared for the jobs that we want them to fill. And so it's easier for our businesses to tap into the workforce because they're readily available. So when you got one group of individuals that either can't or don't want to go to work, you can always look at the colleges or the schools to tap into that resource. Another thing, of course, we want to reduce the BPT, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're not hampering or affecting our government services. So one big thing is to drive new industries and new investments into the island so that we can recover or augment whatever shortages we might see with the lack of revenue coming into Guam. So this is just some of the things that I want to work on to support our local businesses.
Excellent, and great shout out to Dr. Sam Mabini Young. She was on episode number 2 of the We Want to Know Action PAC show, and she did share some great ideas, as you have echoed, in regards to the fostering the youth from the early age. I'm a firm believer in that we can.
Well, they have. I'm sorry, but in the schools they have a program where they kind of promote volunteerism. So at the same time, instead of volunteerism, which is important as well, we could also create programs that get people into jobs, either through internships or some sort of vocational training opportunities. I mean, growing up myself, I didn't have the opportunity to stay home during the summers my mom put us to work, because we had family businesses. We didn't get to just stay home and watch TV all day. She said, you're old enough to punch in some numbers on a cash register. So this is what you're going to do for your summers. And so to start that, I mean, that really gives kids an idea of the value of hard work, the importance of jobs, and it also gives them experience with answering to a job or an employer and having that team dynamic experience.
Creating the future of our responsible adults who will work onto our island. I'm a single father of 4, and I firmly believe in that. My kids, they have to earn their They have to earn their Wi-Fi privilege. They pay a quarter for every 10 minutes in my house, and they earn that through chores. So learning the value of the coin or the value of the dollar is important in the house lady household. But yes,
And
I
it
definitely.
establishes really good work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely. And but you start to really see that when you assist in molding these malleable minds, that they pick it up quite often. So now when they have to they earn their money by way of their work, and then they have to pay for a privilege. More often than not, they're not paying for that. They're not paying to be online anymore. They're like, wait a second, so this is mine. This money is mine now. So it's, yeah, I think that it's great that we're fostering that we continue to foster the young minds. I chair the Guam Contract Association Emerging Leaders committee, and one of our main things that we're really excited to roll out this school year is internship, trade shows, job fairs, for the trades academy specifically, at the middle school level. And my daughter was fortunate enough; she was a sixth grader last school year, and she took part in the Pizza Pop and Power Tools all girls program at the Guam Trades Academy.
Yeah.
And she came back and she welded, she did plumbing, she did electrical work, and she drove or she got to operate the heavy machinery, and then she is excited for the following year's programs. So yeah, our kids, I think, they had the conveniences of the iPads and the phones, but if we give them an avenue to explore their creativity, I think that they will appreciate that as well. So
Yes, I agree.
lovely, a lovely platform, and main focus item, as well as your closing on how you will help our business community. So I do want to remind our voters that it's important to have these conversations, along with the conversations of other media outlets with the candidates, to provide you with the knowledge and the information of the candidate, so that you make a conscious decision. I always like to humbly ask that you put your bias aside, regardless of what the name recognition of the party affiliation, although some of those are very important, but really think and hear what the candidate is going to promise as a leader, if they're so voted into a legislature seat, and if they did have the privilege of serving us in previous legislatures. Look at the record, and do some research and see if what they are going to bring to this round of 37th Guam legislature is what you feel is going to better our island moving forward. Thank you so much for your time in this conversation. Did you have any closing remarks to the viewers and voters as we
Get out and vote. Yes, get out and vote. You've got some great candidates who are running for the 37th Guam legislature. Of course, we want a Republican majority would be wonderful, but there's also people on the Democratic side that would do really well to serve in the 37th. And just get out and vote. It's your right. It's your privilege.
Your voice, your vote. We love that statement. If you don't mind, real quick, before I do a sign off, if you can remind our viewing audience, you did mention you were on the Republican side of the ballot. What number are you, Miss Mana?
I'm number 10 on the primary election on the Republican side. Look for Mana Silva Taijeron.
Mana Silva Taijeron. Got it. All right. Well,
Thanks.
you heard it here first. This is the We Want to Know the Action PAC show. We're always humbled and excited to see the viewership of our interviews with the candidates, and we always like to thank the candidates. So, Ms. Mana, thank you so much for sharing this moment with us, and we hope to see you guys come on and vote. The primary is this Saturday, August 27th. It is important that we all exercise this privilege and right to vote. Thank you so much. Everyone stay safe out there, and God bless Guam.